Good morning. I'm taking you all outside today because I am getting ready to set up drip irrigation on the raised beds that I built this year. And I wanted to just show you a little bit about how to measure for them, and then I'm gonna head to the store and pick up the equipment, and I'll make another video on actually setting up the irrigation system and share that with you hopefully by Friday. Let me just flip the camera around and I can show you the beds and how I'm thinking about this system being set up. Okay, so here are our 3 raised beds. They are all in a row here in a line, and they are all 4 feet by 8 feet. And the closest water to them is this faucet that comes off the house right here. So ideally what I want to do is I want to bring the water from the faucet over to this bed and then have a line that goes the length of the garden boxes that then brings water to each box. So I went ahead and I measured the distance for a hose coming down off the faucet here, down, and then over across to the bed. And then I'll put a T connection there so that I can have a hose that comes this way. Around to the edge of the bed I'll have an elbow that goes there, and then I want the hose to come up and then into the bed here. And then I'm gonna have the other side of the hose will come this way off the water, and then along to this bed I'll have an elbow, and then it'll come up into that bed that way, and then the other hose will continue on a T connection down the length of this bed. It will stop here with an elbow up into the bed, and then I'll set up the drip irrigation on this bed that way. So each bed will have a line that comes up over this lip, and then actually it'll have a length of hose that'll go this way with a T in the middle, and then the drip lines are going to run off of each off of that main line that will run perpendicular. And I'm going to put 4 drip lines. I've got my bed set up. You'll see on this one it has a grid. I'm doing a square foot garden method on these beds. So I have a grid where I have each square foot marked, and I'm going to have a line that goes the center of each one of these square feet rows. So I know that's kind of hard to visualize right now, but when I put the system together, you'll see how it all works. And just to touch on measuring for your irrigation system, so I wanted to measure how much hose I was going to need, how much of the hard hose, which is just a black hose. So basically I took the measurement from the faucet down to the ground, measured across this way. Then I know that I'm going to put a connection there. I measured this side here. Then I measure from this corner to the center of that bed. Then I'm going to measure from the bottom up. And then I'm going to need a little bit of hose to just come over that lip. So I'm going to measure from that corner into the bed. Add all those together. And then I take an additional measurement from where the hose comes from the faucet over to the bed and then goes to the left. So from that connection, I'm going to measure all the way down to this corner. Then I'm going to measure again from this corner to the center of that bed, from the bottom to the top, and then over the lip again. Add those together. Then I'm going to take a measurement from this corner all the way down to this corner. And then I'm going to measure from that corner into the middle, from the bottom to the top, and then over the lip, and add those all together. And all of those measurements together are going to tell me how much hose I'm going to need for the whole system. Then I measured the length of the bed from the inside to the end. So that's the length of one of my drip tape. So I'm going to multiply that by 4 because I'm going to do 4 lines. And I also needed to measure from one side to the inside of the bed on that for my main line. And that's the same hose that I use along the edge. So I'll add that to my lengths that I took on the side. The drip tape's a different hose, so I'm going to keep those measurements separate. And then I drew out a little map here, so you can see this is the faucet coming across, and then this is the first garden bed, the second garden bed, and the third garden bed. And what I did was I marked each of those measurements here, and then I put the connection that I'm going to need. And so this is a little T, here's an elbow that comes around the corner, an elbow that's going to come up, and then another one at the top, and then one that comes inside. I made a little mark there because I couldn't draw 2 elbows, but I made a mark that I'm going to need 2. So after I finished the drawing, and then I did the T on the inside of the bed, the main line, and then the drip lines. And then I wrote that I'm going to need valves because I want to put a valve on each one of these lines so I can turn them off and on. And I also want to put a valve over here so that I can turn the whole system off to just one bed so that the water doesn't come up, down, and then come back again. So I want to be able to turn the water off at each one of these beds. So I'm going to need a valve here, and then I'm going to need 4 in each bed. So the reason I'm doing this is because this is how I understand what I'm going to need to go to the store and buy. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at this map and I'm going to count all of the T's that I need. I'm going to count all of the elbows that I need. I'm going to count all of the valves that I need. I need a pressure reducer that's going to reduce from my city water down to 15 psi, which is what you need to install a drip irrigation system. And I'm also going to buy a hand crank timer that is going to allow me to just come out here, crank the timer to 60 minutes, let the water run, and it'll automatically shut itself off. So these are all the things that I've written out on my paper that I'm going to then add up, and then I'm going to head to the store.